do I take credit for this idea of the episode, or do you? Because I'm fired up for this one.
I think I pitched it, so I believe I deserve credit for it.
All right, yeah.
Yeah,
So this is Alan's idea.
yeah. I think you did well with the positions. Like we honed in the positions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is gonna be fun, man. And anytime the football season ends, we like to experiment with a lot of the topics. We like to always touch on football as best we can, even when it's the off season.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, dude, I feel like football has become a 12-month-a-year sport. With the season ends in February, and then March you have free agency. Last couple of years, there's a big name that has gotten traded or has left and went somewhere else, whether free agency or got traded. So it creates that talking point. And then come April, you have the draft. May, people are going to voluntary camp. They're not going. Are they a piece of trash for not going? Are they selling out there? Those talking points come. Then June is kind of like a dead period, and then July is training camp.
Yeah, that
August is
was.
preseason, and then we're back in September before you know it.
Yeah, like last year in particular, really just blew me away of how the NFL just dominates our sports. Because after Selection Sunday, that's when Brady announced he was coming back. First day of March Madness, Devontae Adams gets traded to Vegas. I'm just like, these sports can't get their own day. Unbelievable.
Dude, I've told this story before on the pod. Like, I was on the worst date ever. Well, it turned out to be the worst date ever when Brady announced his retirement last year. And we were grabbing dinner, and I just see at the bar we were at, I just see Tom Brady retires. I'm like,
Because that was on a Saturday.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I gotta tweet about this. I was like, I got fans that want to hear my opinion.
Was she into sports or not at all?
She was into sports, but she wasn't into the fact that for the next hour and a half, I was just on my phone, the group chat,
All
like,
right.
yo, it's crazy. He's retired. Safe to say that was my first and last date with that lovely woman, and I hope she's doing well. But listen, man, priorities. You know what I'm saying? You can't doubt me when it comes to my priorities.
I mean, it's the GOAT. Like, it's Brady retiring. This is significant news.
But, dude,
Didn't Shams talk about that? How he can't, get into a relationship with women? The NBA insider?
oh, because of the breaking news?
Yeah.
Yeah, yo, I mean, he's known for putting out things first. Like him, Woj. In the NFL, it's like Rappaport and Schefter. And
Tom Pelissero's, he's done a very good job.
yeah,
He's up there.
he's becoming for sure. I mean, he's been a
Food chain.
household name, but yeah, he's coming up the ladder. But dude, I feel like the NFL has become so dominant now, and it's the most popular sport in the country. Everyone loves to bet on it. Everyone plays fantasy football, and since it is once a week, we're saying a lot of things that a lot of people already know. But the idea behind this show, and shout out to Alan for putting this together, we're building a dream team in the NFL, but there's a couple of caveats. All these players have to be on a rookie contract. So it doesn't include Devontae Adams, doesn't include Pat Mahomes, no Travis Kelce. It's players that are on rookie contracts, and our head coach has to have less than 4 years of NFL head coaching experience. A lot of these guys have a decade-long career in coaching, but when it comes to being head coaches, it needs to be less than 4 years. And the breakdown of the rosters, because we're not going to pick 53 people, it's going to be too much, but basically like your cornerstones of your franchise, right? So we're going to pick one quarterback, one running back, 3 pass catchers, so it can include a tight end also, 1 offensive lineman, 1 edge rusher, 1 defensive tackle, inside linebacker, DB, and then your head coach.
There's no linebackers.
Oh, no linebackers.
There was literally no one to choose from. Look, we love the linebacker position, but it's scarce out there. All the best ones got paid. Your Shaq Leonards, your Devin White, even Matt Milano. There's
Roquan Smith.
yeah.
It
Just we couldn't possibly do. You mentioned Patrick Queen, and that was the only linebacker on the list.
That's
we,
right.
We had to make this fair. So we put safety in there. There's actually a decent amount of safeties to choose from, which is nice. So that was the best way to go about it.
So we're not going to pick by position. We're going to do a draft.
Mm-hmm.
And since you're the guest, you'll have the first pick, and you can attack it however you want. and we'll be keeping track of what our team is. And then also at the end, we want you guys to tell us who has the better team, Alan or myself.
I just mentioned one quick funny story.
Sure.
When I was putting together the list of like players, given their roster, the Falcons don't have many players on this list. But there was one I was really targeting, Chris Lindstrom, All Pro right guard or second team All Pro right guard because Zach Martin is still in the NFL. He was on a rookie contract, and then as I was putting the list together, the next day he got paid record setting. I think he's now making like $21 million a year. I was like,
For a guard?
yeah, like he set the market. I mean, that's how things are growing now.
Yo, timeout.
I mean, Quinn Nelson got a similar deal.
Yeah. And I think that's a big reason for some of their problems. Listen, offensive line is very important. Very important. I think if I can have one A-plus thing in building a roster, I would probably pick an A-plus offensive line. Because I think with an A-plus offensive line, I can win with like a B-minus quarterback. I can't win with a A-plus quarterback and like a C-minus offensive line.
Kansas City Chiefs.
That's a good example. Burrow, I know they got to the Super Bowl, but he got...
That wasn't a C. That was a D borderline F line.
Yeah. Yeah, it was even worse. Yeah. So they are important, but man, 20+ million for a guard is crazy.
But you have to look at the Falcons situation. Second most cap space. They're a team that they're just trying to get stars. Like they're just trying to build their own up. So you have to understand. And he is legitimately one of the best in the league. He is a tone setter. And Arthur Smith loves to run the ball. So I'm all for the deal. And I'm not just saying this because I'm trying to defend the organization. This is a objectively smart move. You don't feel it's okay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think if he's a tackle, sure, absolutely. Or a center.
Yeah, centers are very important.
Center's very, very important. There's some centers on this list too. But I don't know, man. I feel like that's a steep price. I'm not going to compare it to running back by any means because you could tell a really good guard and then the drop off between a bad guard. Where like in the running back position, there's so many running backs that could go out there and get 20 touches and be productive for you. We see it year in, year out. How many times, bro, come fantasy playoffs, someone loses a running back and you just take his backup and, all right, he's not giving you 25 a game, but he's giving you 18.
Oh, when McCaffrey got traded, Deonta Foreman. Oh, I
yeah.
reacted right away.
Dude, the last year in 2019 when I won my my fantasy league back to back, by the way.
Let him know.
Gotta let him know. 5 championships in 4 years. Let him know again. But that was when the Vikings, Dalvin Cook went down, and then Mike Boone.
Oh wow, preseason legend Mike Boone.
And then I ended up taking Richard from the Raiders, who was the backup.
Oh, Jalen Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had like a monster game, and like
he was great in PBR.
I had a pick between the two, and my rationale was, I've seen this guy start and play. I'd never seen Mike Boone, and that was the difference. And I played Impey. Shout out to Impey. I played him in the finals, and the difference was 6 points. And Mike Boone put up 6, and Richard put up like 15, and that was ultimately the decision. And you see that a lot, dude, in the NFL. Like Madison on the Vikings, bro. When he's starting for Dalvin Cook, it's like you basically have Dalvin Cook there. Yeah. So I'm not gonna say that the drop off is the same, but I think it's a position that like I don't know if I would want to pay $20 million to a guy.
Fair enough. And every franchise has their own beliefs and how their roster is constructed. So I get, but the Falcons just need players. That's the position there. But Chris Lindstrom, not on the list. He was someone I was targeting like in the 8th, 9th round, knowing you would definitely have not picked him. I was like, this could be my pick, but he just got paid.
Yeah.
So
yo, shout out to us spending 5 minutes on the guard position.
Here we go, man.
Who else does that?
Anyway,
right. Start us off. You have the first pick. Where are you going with this?
Joe Burrow, no hesitation.
Wow, so no hesitation, Burrow. Like unanimous.
Yeah, he's just. It goes beyond just being a quarterback. Obviously,
I agree with you, man. Look, I love Justin Herbert, but I think at this point I think right now it's Mahomes and then Burrow.
Yeah, I just think the intangibles. Like, yeah, we could talk about his accuracy, his pocket presence, his awareness, but just the way he commands. It just seems like he never gets phased. And this guy's been under excruciating adversity. Like the offensive line the Bengals have had the last 2 years, I'm saying like 98% of those quarterbacks crumble in the league. The way Burrow has just maneuvered around the pocket, never got frustrated. He cultivated a city. He picked them from the bottom, and now they're a contender. And I love the quote. What he said, he's like, "Oh wow, I'm blanking on what was the quote." He said, "There's never a rebuilding year, or we're gonna be competing every year." I wish I had that exact quote. He said it way cooler because Joe Burrow, he has a good way
As
of
long
putting
as I'm
words.
here, we're always gonna be a contender or
Yeah,
something like that.
something like that. But he made it sound way cooler. Google the quote, but it's just he just has that presence and the aura. It's just like everyone believes in him. And I love a quarterback that never gets riled, who's played in tough conditions, and a quarterback that team maybe has 5 drives in, punted 3 times, maybe there's a turnover involved, yet he could bounce back and third, fourth quarter, 3 straight scoring drives win the game. And it's just another Sunday to him.
And also, the best thing about him, anytime, any place.
Yeah.
He went into Buffalo when it was coming down with snow, not a care in the world. He goes into Kansas City, they were calling it Burrowhead, not a care in the world. I know they lost in the AFC title game, but every meeting that they've had, those two teams, it's been a three-point game either way. Like these teams play each other so well. And a lot of it has to do with Burrow, where he's like, yo, I'm better than Mahomes. Like in his mind, he carries himself. And look, it's not that crazy of a conversation. I'd still take Mahomes, but Burrow is right there, man. And I think the whole team, they steal a lot of his energy and his vibe, his whole flow of, yo, it don't matter, man. We'll go into any place, raining, snowing, and he just carries them.
And look, I know the Titans are flawed, but that's still an epic performance. Taking 9 sacks against a really good Titans defense and still pulling through a win. That's just another one to the resume. And he's torched the Ravens a bunch of times too. We know how deep that rivalry is. So he's a complete package. He had to be my number one.
Dude, one of my strongest takes all year was that Bills game that they played. Because remember that week, the entire conversation around the Bengals was, well, they're missing all those offensive linemen. And going into that, I remember I bet pretty big on them to just beat the Bills outright.
We both picked them.
Yeah, we both picked them outright. I think they were catching like 5.5 points. And I felt so confident, dude. And the reason why was because we've seen this dude with a shitty offensive line go in and perform at a high level. And also, the Bills aren't exactly the 49ers front four or the Eagle front four.
Not even close.
Not even close. So it wasn't that was a good week for them to not have all their offensive linemen. And then when you fast forward a week later, I felt like one thing that was being sort of brushed aside was the offensive line. So where it was a pro for you one week, it was a con for you the next week because the Chiefs have guys that could generate pressure. Dude, we had the KC Sports Network guys in here during that week, and they were talking about playoff Frank Clark. I never knew it was a thing, but he's like third all time in playoff sacks. Who would have guessed that? I never would have guessed that. Chris Jones comes out. The Dirty Lamb, Karlaftis also. Like, they had a lot more that can combat that bad offensive line for the
Dunlap
Bengals.
too, former Bengal.
Yeah,
Dunlap.
yeah. So that's a good pick, though, man. I think Burrow for sure. I think I'm going to surprise you with my next two.
Okay.
Because everyone's probably expecting me to go quarterback and with the obvious quarterback, but I like building a team. The 3 things I like saying is find the quarterback, protect them, go after theirs. I'm going to find my quarterback in a little bit. Taking Micah Parsons as my edge rusher. And then I'm taking my boy, Andrew Thomas, baby.
Wow.
Who would have thought? Best left tackle in football.
Parsons was a no-brainer, but you got to talk about Thomas.
Dude, he got so much shit his rookie year, and he's been unbelievable ever since.
Oh, no, I don't deny the talent, but how come you're picking him so high?
Because I want to build my offensive line, and I want to start with the left tackle, and I think of the guys that are on this list that we could pick from, I think he's undeniably the best offensive lineman. And for obviously the right-handed quarterback, It's the left tackle position. You have your franchise guy. I think personally, dude, I'm paying 4 positions in football, big money. Quarterback, obviously, a stud wide receiver. I'm talking about like Devontae, Diggs,
Alpha.
like a real alpha, a cornerback, especially with how much football has changed, and a stud left tackle. And then I'd probably fifth, or if you want to change corner and edge rusher, I'd give you that.
Only thing I'll disagree, right tackle to me is just as valuable because you still see edge rushers be moved around. You see like a Joey Bosa,
Go to
prime
the other,
Khalil Mack. So
yeah.
to me, I just think the tackle position in general.
So would you say the tackles are the 2 positions you would want to have A pluses at on the offensive line?
Yeah.
And then
Because right tackles get paid.
they do, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So for
Look
me,
at my not very good ones like Mike Willinchi just got paid. I don't know why, but look, he's there. They get paid.
bro, the Giants had Nate Solder.
Well,
That was, and then
we're,
Eric
we're, we're on
Flowers.
like 4 bad Giant references.
Yeah. But Andrew Thomas, though, to make up for it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I take him at the offensive line. And then Micah Parsons, I know he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year last year,
No brainer.
but in my opinion, I think he's the best defensive player in football.
Yeah.
He can do so much. He could do so many elite things from so many different positions. Inside, outside, opposite side. He could drop back into coverage. He'll chase dudes down 40 yards down the field, strip sack, fumble, pick it up, score a touchdown. Like, he's the most versatile defender in the league by a landslide.
Yeah. No denying there. And you always have to account for him.
Yeah.
Like offensive coordinators lose sleep trying to game plan for him. So that was I was targeting him. So hell of a pick. Was not targeting Andrew Thomas.
So I got my O line and my edge rusher right now. Now you got 2
You're
picks.
setting the tone. I'm gonna keep it in New York. Sauce Gardner.
Wow.
Be already a top 3 corner league. You want to talk about a dominant rookie year. And he's just not phased by anything. And he could play, he does his thing in man, but he's also versatile enough to play in zone. It's just I think he's just a complete package. And we're talking about guys that set the tone. What better guy than him?
So I agree with you with everything you said. That's the right pick there for DB. But my question to you is, how do you feel about conversations around players like him where there's a hesitancy to coin them the best in the league because they're just rookies? Like, do you think that really matters? Or can you just say, like, right off the bat, like, yo, bro, you're the best player in the league?
I just think there's some talents that you just see them week in and week out take over games or just, in his case, prevent completions from happening. Like you saw his numbers, PFF every week was charting him. Like man coverage, completion percentage would be like 33%, 3 catches, or like he'd be targeted maybe like 6 times and allow 2 or 3 catches. Like it's just you see these numbers and Robert Salah, they like to play man more and more. So it's just I think it's the eye test because you see some rookies out there, they enter the league like a Jamar Chase or Pat Mahomes, and it's just like they've been so dominant. It's just like you have to put them up there. Like, of course, you want to see the body of work, but what we've seen so far, it's a premier talent.
I was going to mention Jamar Chase. Like, I think you could have made a case that his rookie year, he was the best wide receiver in the league. Like, it was like him and Devontae.
Yeah, you're just changing games.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Immediately.
yeah, you just watching actual games and just seeing the footage. It's like okay, these teams are winning games because of him, and he's doing it at such a dominant level. And if you take this player off the team, there's no way they're winning these games. So that's how I view it. And yes, Sauce was the easy pick for me.
What's your other position?
Speaking of Jamar Chase,
Oh,
that's the next one.
Dan, did we name drop?
I mean, he was on my radar. Obviously, there's 2 true alpha receivers on
I'm
this
writing
list.
down everyone's name as we go about it.
The reason why I think I put Chase a little higher than a certain other individual, the vertical threat. I just think Chase, he's just someone that could really take the top off of defense. I think he doesn't get enough credit for how, like, after the catch, we're aware of his breakaway speed, but how much of a load he is to bring down. Like, especially watching the playoffs, because Baltimore did everything possible to play contain. We are not getting beat over the top. So we're going to hit those quick hitches to Chase. But Chase would get like an extra 3, 4, 5 yards after every catch. So I don't think he gets enough credit for how much of a problem he is in the open field on these short to intermediate routes. So Chase, he's just someone that terrifies you. Like to me, besides Tyreek Hill, I think he's the most terrifying receiver in the league for what he could do with the ball in his hands.
Dude, you also got the Burrow Chase connection there,
Yeah,
too.
which, you know,
Damn,
we're going strong.
You slide double there. Okay, I like that one. Yeah, Chase. All right, I'm gonna go with wide receiver then too. I'm gonna take Justin Jefferson
Got to.
because I think Justin Jefferson, for as productive as he's been, and I don't want to shit on Kirk Cousins because I think he gets a lot of heat from a lot of people. There are some times where Jefferson could have some bigger games if Kirk is just a little bit more accurate.
Look at you being kind. There you go. Growth.
Dude, Justin Jefferson, I think last year he was my pick for Offensive Player of the Year, and I hate myself to this day for not betting it because I had just moved, right? So I couldn't bet on him. I had Mahomes as MVP too at 10-1. I had some monster hits last year, man, but also didn't really have monster hits because I didn't bet on him since I was moving out here. But I like Justin Jefferson. I think he's more versatile than Jamar Chase.
More versatile, but I don't think he's as big of a deep threat. Like he doesn't have that quite breakaway speed, but he still makes downfield plays. Don't get me wrong. I just think Chase, you see more 60-yard plays, and I don't think it's just because of quarterback play. I think Chase creates those.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But then again, I would like to see Justin Jefferson if he had a T. Higgins caliber receiver.
Yeah, that was to me the tiebreaker was what is around him because he has a better quarterback and he has better weapons around him to take attention away from him.
It's not even close.
Yeah, where it's like everything is going to Jefferson. Like, dude, there were so many times because Minnesota was on this wild streak of wins and one-score games. They went 11-0 in one-score games. And they had a lot of, like, marquee games on the schedule. Like, every week they were kind of playing games of the week. So when I was watching them, it's wild. And this is what I think makes someone really elite. When it's 3rd and 7 and, like, my mom who's watching the game knows that the ball is going to go to number 18 and he still is productive, that's when you're like, yo, you're an elite SOB. Dude.
That's when you know.
That's when you know. It's like, bro, everybody in the building, my mom knows that the ball's going to go to that dude, and you still get open and you still make plays. Like Devontae's like that. Cooper Kupp is like that. It's not many guys that are consistently just Keenan Allen, sneaky, especially with Herbert coming out the slot. It's like 3rd and 7. One of my favorite moments from Brandon Staley was he says, you know, you have an elite guy. He basically reiterated what I just said now. You know, you have an elite guy when the whole world knows the ball's going to go there and he still puts up big numbers. And that's why, and that's why I think Justin Jefferson is.
Or is it this? Which hand motion does he do? Is the 2 hands or he does the arrow? I don't know. Justin Jefferson has the best, like, first down celebration.
Oh,
does he do the bow and arrow or
I'm not
he does
sure.
the bow and arrow and then you just.
I know CD Lamb does that, like, weird one with his nose. That could be misinterpreted for other reasons too. But yeah, I'm going Justin Jefferson for me, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take a corner also.
But I'm curious, when are you going running back, Mr. Anti-running back?
Oh, I'm taking running back after I take a coach. That's what I'm doing. I love Sauce Gardner. I think he's great. I think the best corner in football is the dude down in Denver, Patrick Surtain.
Right up there.
He is, and especially like, dude, I'm very high on Denver coming into this year, and a lot of it has to do with
this year.
Yeah, this year coming in.
This is a future episode discussion.
Yeah. So I love the. It's a betting thing, right? Like they're 50-1 to win the Super Bowl, and I think that's a high number. It's banking on their defense, which they're basically bringing everyone back. I'm banking on their defense and Sean Payton reviving Russell Wilson. Unless Russ is completely shot, which could be the case. It could be the case where, like, 4 games in, we're like, holy shit, this is horrible.
Highly likely the case.
Yeah, that's what you think? Ooh,
future discussion, I'm totally off that.
Okay. Dude, I kind of just always flirt with the AFC West. Like, I'm kind of.
I mean, you've been hurt too many times by the Chargers.
Yeah.
You live in Vegas now.
Yeah.
I mean, Mahomes.
Mahomes is Mahomes. I bet the biggest bet I ever made in my life was on Mahomes and the Chiefs in this Super Bowl. So it's weird. I kind of just pass along, man.
I mean, it's an eventful division. You see it. I mean, they were on primetime pretty much every week last year.
So Patrick Surtain, I think, is also
I would pick.
the only other guy that, like, if he's not in, I think is worth something against the point spread.
Yeah.
I think for that defense, for what he does, and it's not much, it's like maybe a half point, but I think he has that much of an impact. And then when you look at that division too, he plays some high end wide receivers, and he steps in on Kelsey too. Like, he's a guy that you
Goes
could
to
do a
the
lot
slot.
with. Yeah, he travels. He's one of the rare guys that travels. So for me, my two picks in this one are Justin Jefferson and Patrick Surtain. So now you have two
I
more.
mean,
Picks.
those are literally, you can make a strong argument both are the best players at their respective positions. So, I mean, which we're kind of going to get with this discussion, but those two in particular, oof, phenomenal players. I'm going to go edge rusher here. Still a little under radar, but if you watch him closely, you know he's one of the most terrifying edge rushers in the league. Brian Burns
Dude,
gets after it, man. I'm excited about Brian Burns.
yo, so I had the pleasure of talking to Robert Mathis. He said that's his favorite guy to
Oh,
watch.
yeah.
He said
Who knows
he's
edge rushers
the
better than Robert Mathis?
he's the best one.
Yeah.
He said he's the best one, and I think the Rams were in on him. They were going to give up a bunch of draft picks. And that would have been
the F them picks were taken to a whole new
Yeah.
level with Brian Burns. Because they
Yeah.
literally had no more picks. But I think they realized, all right, this is too steep. But yeah, man, Brian Burns. I'm wondering when Carolina's going to pay him, but oof, what a talent. He doesn't get the recognition, obviously, being the NFC South, bad division, bad team, but you want to talk about just ways you could beat a tackle up. He does it. So, yeah.
Bro, he's also massive. He was in here with Tyreek Hill doing a podcast. And I know Tyreek Hill is like 5'9", 5'10", but which is funny because I'm also 5'10". But the size of Brian Burns is like massive, dude. He's big.
Yeah, and because I know now with edge rushers, some of them are more smaller, they're more for speed purposes. But no, Brian Burns, he will chop you down if you're not careful. And then my other pick, this is where things get a little tricky. Like I was like, I'm trying to evaluate what position I really want, and it was difficult. But ultimately, I'm gonna do offensive line.
Okay.
I'm debating between a few, but I'm gonna go more reliability here. I'm gonna go Tristan Wirfs. I think just more for dependability. Because now that you took a tackle, we can mention who else. So I was seriously considering Rashawn Slater, but he's only had 1 year. You know, he was out for the year last year. So it was between him and Wirfs. But I'm just going Wirfs more for just dependability because I think Wirfs, along with Lane Johnson, is the best right tackle in the league, and he's part of that class. Ironically, him and Andrew Thomas, same class.
Yeah.
So I wanted him. I also did consider Creed Humphrey, but like you, I'm considering tackle more than anything
Slater
else.
was the one that was, I felt
he's
like.
up there, but it's tricky.
Yeah, with the injury concerns, and also you just have more of a sample size with the other guys. And then Creed Humphreys, I think, is probably the best. He's, in my opinion, he's the best offensive lineman in football that's not a tackle.
Yeah, agree with that.
So he's definitely in that combo.
So back-to-back NFC South for me, as you could tell from my Sunday watching experience.
I'm gonna go with another wide receiver, and I think this one might surprise you. Am I crazy for taking St. Brown?
Yeah, it's high.
So the way I'm building out my team, remember we have 3 pass catchers.
Yeah.
He's my slot guy.
Okay.
Right, St.
And
Brown.
he's great, but does he do anything elite? Like, what does he do that really? That's what I was saying. Like, what? Because we have a lot on this list.
I think his hands are elite.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. But not necessarily like a breakaway threat.
He is more of a yak guy. You're definitely right about that. He's definitely more of a yak guy.
I think their play caller does a terrific job. Ben Johnson. And look, you can utilize him in different ways. I don't know what's his game breaking ability. Like, he puts up numbers. Don't get me wrong. He's consistent as it gets. But would he ever be top 5? You're picking him high right now. But hey,
well, the structure of my team having him out the slot is
and you're picking a slot guy this early?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, dude, nowadays slot guys are not just like your old school slot guys. Like, slot guys are catching 90 passes a year.
Okay.
And they're your go-to guy on third downs. And they're putting up monster games and monster seasons. So it's not like Brandon Stokely era slot wide receivers. So you're talking about
not
like
your Wes Welker.
Yeah, now you're talking about guys that are going to get. I mean, dude,
He breaks
also,
tackles. I'll give him that too.
Also, this was big in like the fantasy community. Like the super analytic guys would always say, "Why don't you put your best wide receiver in the slot?" And then you started seeing teams do that. Like Tyreek Hill used to run a lot out the slot, but Tyreek Hill's not a slot wide receiver, but he ran a high percentage of his routes out the slot.
Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas, yeah. You see that a ton where, like Cooper Kupp is a slot wide receiver, but he's also like 6'3". I think people don't realize that. Dude, I'll never forget the Thursday night football game. The Vikings were playing the Rams.
Arguably the best Thursday night game ever.
Yo, that was a banger. It was just
Not too many of them. That's why we remember it.
It was wild. Jared Goff was the quarterback, and then after the game, they had Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp at the table, and they were standing. And, bro, they were the same size. And I was like, yo, I never would have guessed. Like, Cooper Kupp, I was like, oh, random white dude in the slot, probably like 5'11", 6 foot. But then you realize, like, this guy is a monster, bro. He's a big dude.
Yeah. I saw mentioned, because we're both big fans of him, that Vikings-Rams game. I remember Robert Woods scored a touchdown, and he's going to, like, the front row section and wearing a white dress shirt. YG jumps up, popcorn goes flying, all food just goes flying, and just daps up Robert Woods. And, like, people are just looking at him like, sir, we spent a lot of money on this food. Like, what are you doing? This is YG out here on his gangsta. Like, so I just remember that Thursday game so epic. And yeah, people forget about Cooper Kupp. That's a great observation. What's your second pick?
My second pick, I'm going to interior D lineman. And bro, I know you mentioned
doing it.
I know you mentioned that your team don't have a lot of guys on here, but my team got a couple guys on here. Dexter Lawrence.
I was targeting the next round.
Dude, I was so happy for the shine he got this year because he's been. So let's not forget he was in that draft class with Daniel Jones.
Yes,
and he was like the guy that got just as much scrutiny.
He was from the Odell trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But he was the guy that got a lot of heat because everyone was saying, "Why are you going to draft a defensive tackle?"
Nose tackle, 345 pounds.
Like he's not an Aaron Donald type. He's not gonna line up on the outside. Like, why are you doing that?
Similar to what Tampa got with Vita Vea.
Exactly that, and it got a lot of heat. It got a lot of heat. Like, what are the Giants doing? Why are you taking him? And then, dude, from day one, he was a run stuffer and like a really good one. And then this year, I think a lot of that is because of the success of the Giants. Dexter Lawrence got a lot of shine, and I think he's the best defensive tackle in football.
How do you feel having two Gettleman picks on your team?
Dude. Yo, so what's crazy, bro, if you really think about it, and I know we're going to talk about the Giants right now because I'm a little excited. Not excited about.
These are two terrific picks. Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence. I literally, he was my next pick.
So I'm not exactly thrilled about $40 million for Daniel Jones, but when you're looking at the structure of the Giants right now, you got Andrew Thomas. And then on the defense, you have Ojulari, edge rusher. You have Dexter Lawrence in the middle. And then you got Thibodeau. You got some nice cornerstones of your franchise.
I know you're shaky, but look, I got high hopes for Evan Neal. I think Evan Neal will get
Evan
better.
Neal also, yeah.
He took his lumps. But
look, man, Andrew Thomas, his first year, he was getting a lot of heat. And then year 2 and 3, he's been a hell of a player. So who knows? Maybe Evan Neal has something similar. But you're looking at it like the core pieces. And as a Giants fan, that's always how they would build out their roster. Really good defense. Oh, sorry. Great defensive line and really, really good offensive line. And then you build around that. So I think Dexter Lawrence, man, is the best. Like, he's not going to get you 15 sacks.
Yeah.
But
he pushed the spot. Like, talk about the Vikings game. That last play. Why did Kirk Cousins check it down to Hawkinson? Look who was getting the pressure. He just pushes the pocket. And
he opens up a lot of things for the rest of your players to make up plays because he's going to take on 3 blockers. So that's also something to.
I also feel like the Giants are really good against the run this year, and of course he's going to play because of him. Yeah, so no, that's
D-Law, baby, the real D-Law.
Oh,
okay. Shots at the Cowboys any chance we get. All right, continue with your list. I still haven't taken a quarterback. Are you surprised?
I mean, you don't have to.
I don't have to.
So you're working around. So I just wanted to get my guys. So that's the benefit of having the second pick.
Okay.
But speaking of the Cowboys, I can't believe you didn't take him. But then again, you've always had a little resentment towards him. CeeDee Lamb, easy. Like to me, you put him in the slot, you put him on the outside.
Dude, yeah, truthfully, the real resentment I have towards CeeDee Lamb is that he has Lamb on the back of his jersey, and I can't wear it. Like, I want to wear it, bro. If he was on any other team, I would have bought that. That shit would look so fire. But he's a Cowboy, and I can't do it. If you're a Cowboy, you're an Eagle or a Commander, I can't do it. But to see Lamb on the back, like, anytime he has a monster game and he's trending on Twitter, there's a part of me that's like, yo, let's go, we're trending.
That's how much the word Lamb means to you.
Yeah, it's the
Unreal.
best. It's
Yeah.
the best. All right,
But
so tell me more.
I mean, C Lamb, it was crazy because he was coming off a not a down year, but I thought the Cowboys disappointing playoff loss to the Niners. I thought he should have had a big. He was a big responsibility for that. Like he had only like 2 catches the game. He didn't take that step, so they put him in a position. It's like, okay, you're really going to be the number one now because Gallup is coming off a season-ending injury. They trade Cooper, and you're coming off a season where I just feel like you really prove you could be a number one. And this year was just they're like, you're the number one, be it, and he doubled that. Like to me, that Niners game once Pollard went out, he pretty much carried the offense, and just time and time again, CeeDee Lamb in the slot, outside, he literally could do it all, and he has the speed to take the top off of defense. You use him on end arounds. I think that's also thing I want to mention with St. Brown. He's actually you can utilize him as a ball carrier as well, which is cool because I don't think all receivers could do that. So
Jamar Chase also.
yeah, so you have receivers like that, and CeeDee Lamb's definitely one of them. He's someone who was put in the position like, can you be a guy that we just build the offense around, particularly the passing game, and he proved to be that player. Because I had doubts because I thought he was going to have a real down sophomore year, but you want to talk about that third-year leap, he did it and some. So,
Well, dude, that's always the year for quarterbacks. Well, wide receivers, I should say. Usually, year two, you see a big leap. Year one to year two, but for wide receivers, like if you want to be an elite guy, you have a monster year three. So Jamar Chase is probably gonna like he's already that. So wonder what his year three
yeah,
might look like.
who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. All right. What's your other one?
I mean, man, I want Dexter Lawrence. He's gone. We're staying in New York. I'm going Quinn Williams. Another one, just one of those big nose tackles.
Yo, so if it wasn't Lawrence, I probably would have went Jeffrey Simmons.
He was up there, but I just think Quinn Williams more consistent. Jeffrey Simmons has battled some injury issues.
Okay,
I
that's fair.
just think Quinn Williams look double-digit sacks this year. Like there was games where he would get double-digit sacks. He would just put guards into the quarterback's lap, and I think when you look at the Jets' defense becoming a top-5 caliber unit, him and Sauce were the main 2 players. So for me, Quinn Williams, he's right up there with Dexter Lawrence as that next cream of the crop defense tackles. 'Cause right now, so you have Aaron Donald, you have Chris Jones, but then it's like, okay, you got the 2 boys in New York.
Hmm.
So I really wanted Dexter Lawrence though, but I'm thrilled with Quinn Williams. I will gladly take him. Because to me, it's 1A, 1B with them.
As I'm looking at my team right now, I need a safety, a wide receiver, running back, and a quarterback. And I think I'm going to wait on quarterback once again. I'm going to take another receiver.
Restacking it.
I'm going to stay in New York, man. Garrett Wilson.
Hey, this is why Jet fans should be hopeful. You see how many players we're mentioning here?
Bro, listen, man.
After the catch, he is a demon.
He is unbelievable. And think about like what he has to deal with. All the quarterback carousel over there, and year one as a rookie, he really didn't get going until I'd say like a little bit after, like October is when he really started to get
The
going.
great Mike White came in.
The franchise, Mike White, baby. But I think Garrett Wilson for sure, man. He's a guy who, again, I like my receivers being versatile. I don't want you to just be on the outside. I don't want you to just be on the inside. I like you to be able to move around. And the Jets were moving him around a lot. And I think this is going to be another good year for him. Year two, and then obviously year three, we always call that the year for the wide receiver. But I think he has great hands. And
He gets open.
he gets
separates.
open and like, bro, Ohio State produces a lot of wide receivers, man. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the number 1 wide receiver in the country, and he'd probably be the number 1 wide receiver in the draft this year if he was eligible. But he's a dude who comes from that school, man. Like Olave also, Mike Thomas came from there. Like the list goes on and on of wide receivers that are like monster wide receivers. LSU is always the most popular one because I think they have the most charismatic wide receivers, like going back to Odell, and then you got Justin Jefferson, you got Jamar Chase, where I think Ohio State is like right up there too, man. So Garrett Wilson for me. And that rounds out my wide receivers. My 3 wide receivers set Justin Jefferson, St. Brown, and Garrett Wilson. And then I'm going to go to the secondary with a safety. And dude,
You want that tone setter. I know where you're going.
I like Hafunga, man.
Ooh, okay. Did not expect that.
Look,
Great player.
I was gonna take Javon Holland, but also because he once tweeted at a Bella Danger, who's a great girl, and he's risking it all,
See, that's
man.
why you can't be a GM.
He's risking it all. No, look, if he's a quarterback, I think that's a low IQ play. But if you're a DB and you gotta be a savage, I'm all for it. I think that's a green flag in my opinion.
What kind of scouting is this?
This is elite scouting, bro. When you see with this roster that I'm building, it's elite scouting. But yo, Hafunga, another conversation, right? He made the All-Pro team as a rookie. Why do we need to wait 3-4 years to say that he might be the best safety in the league?
Because maybe he's more like in the box. He's more the strong safety than the free safety, and free safeties get more value just for the coverage.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my argument. I love him as a player. Like he gets.
But like, yo, I know
Troy
everyone.
Polamalu comparison.
Yeah, because he got the hair flowing,
But
but also
he
he plays
too.
like him.
Yeah.
Like he lines up at the line, he lines up on receivers, he comes down and he tackles too. So to me, I think that's the guy right now, man.
He's one of the biggest reasons why San Fran is the best defense.
Bro, and I
love the pick. I just didn't expect you to go there.
Yeah, and again, I don't think I need to wait to see him play for so like, dude, Derwin James when he came into the league,
You
like
already knew.
immediately you were like, yo, bro,
Yeah.
he's the best safety in the league. So I kind
Line
of
him
feel
up
the
in
same
3
way.
different spots. Okay.
I kind of feel the same way. So those are my 2 picks for this round. I took Garrett Wilson and then I took Hafunga. So you're 2.
Okay. Or where you really got to start thinking.
Damn, no love for running back, huh?
I'm considering it, but I just know your draft strategy. All right, I'm gonna do it now. We're gonna go with the head coach.
No. Head coach before running back, and how dare you slander me before for saying I was going to do that?
No, but the head coach I think is a very valuable one, and I highly rate him. I think their team is building towards being a real contender. I'm going Mike McDaniel. I love what they did in Miami under some pretty difficult circumstances at the time. I think he is already one of the elite play callers. I know maybe situational management could get a little better, but I think Mike McDaniel, when you look at young head coaches, he's already putting himself at the cream of the crop. Like, I love how they craft that offense. Like, it just seems like, when you're watching an offense where it just seems like there's open plays every other play, like you just see their receivers 10 yards open, bang, 20-yard completion, because they have guys that after the catch, they're going to pick up yards. Like, just the way he crafts the offense, screen game, how he put the running game too, and their running backs are just cast of players. They don't have that true number 1 running back, and I don't even think their O-line's that great. I just think what Mike McDaniel has done in such a quick time in Miami, like he's built one of the more dynamic offenses. I know health is kind of an issue there, but under difficult circumstances, like they went to Buffalo and they were competing. So to be Mike McDaniel, coming from that Shanahan tree, one of the many coaches from that Shanahan tree that's quickly growing, I'm good to go with him. And then second pick.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I consider
you didn't take the right answer, bro. Like
it's 1 and 2. I went with the more better play caller.
Well, let me guess. I'm biased, right?
No. Look, everyone loves Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll, he was my coach of the year.
Yeah.
I went more McDaniel just because I think schematically they do a couple more things I more enjoy. But then again, you look at what Daboll did.
I'm sorry you can't do enjoyable shit when he's throwing to Isaiah Hodgins and Bellinger at tight end. My bad, he don't got Tyreek Hill and Waddle to throw to. Sorry.
Yeah.
Disrespect for the coach of the year. Daboll, you're my coach, baby. We'll get to you in a second, but continue.
Yeah. So, look, they're 1 and 2 for me. Because I'll mention the coaches that we have on the list because obviously you're going to go your guy. But, like, we had Sirianni on the list. And, look, I'm the number 1 Dan Campbell fan. But, like, I can't put Dan Campbell right now over someone like Mike McDaniel. I just think play calling-wise and just how they quickly became one of the most efficient offenses in the league. And, look, we could talk about the receivers and all that. But I just think when you watch Miami's offense, when it's just consistently they're open, and it's just they put together these drives. And look what they did against the Ravens in Baltimore. Full-strength Ravens team, too. I know the Ravens past few years have been destroyed by injuries, but they went to Baltimore and just completely took over that game. So I'm going to go with Mike McDaniel. And I'm very happy with that pick. My second one, I think I'm just going to go now as safety. The guy I thought you were going to take because he's just always all around the field, and he kind of reminds me of Honey Badger. I know how much you love Honey Badger. But to me, he's one of the biggest reasons why this team has been in the playoffs year in year out that won a Super Bowl as well. Antoine Winfield Jr. Yeah. I thought you were gonna go with him. I'm gonna go with second buck. He's just someone that's always around the ball. and he's someone that could play a run, someone that could cover. It's just when you want that centerpiece of your defense, someone that could get everyone organized, someone that's gonna make that open field tackle, someone you utilize as a blitzer and force that turnover. He's just there, and just his qualities, like it really reminds me of Honey Badger. So I'm thrilled I got him, and it's cool. Like even though the Bucks are kind of fading, they drafted really well. Part of the reason why they won a Super Bowl, and to get Wirfs and Winfield, I'm ecstatic about it.
Nah, for sure, man. He's definitely to me. I think it was him and Lafunga as the only two that you could pick from.
Yeah, you mentioned Holland. We also had Kyle Duggar on here. If you're a Patriots fan, you see Kyle Duggar getting all sorts of interceptions. Like he's great too, but I think Winfield and Hufanga are.
Well, bro, again, this is gonna sound super homer, but I love Xavier McKinney. He just don't play much. Like he's a dude who high praise from Nick Saban. He let him call the plays on the defense too, and he's a better like free safety in pass coverage than he is like a run stuffer and coming up in the box. But I think he's a guy too. But again, like
no more freak injuries, please.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go with quarterback now, and I'm taking Justin Herbert. I'm not falling for the trap. I think everyone's crazy for the Justin Herbert slander. I think a lot of this was a perfect Sean Payton destination. Like, this was the place, bro. Because paying Justin Herbert $40 million one day is going to make a lot of more sense than paying Russell Wilson, especially at this stage in the career. There's like an 8-year age difference between the two of them. So to me, it's still Justin Herbert. I'm going to save everyone the time because, VM is basically a Justin Herbert stan podcast. But yeah, he's the guy. If I do think Burrow has surpassed him, though. I think Burrow has definitely surpassed him. I think Burrow is only behind Mahomes, like I mentioned before, but Herbert's still in that like
top
5
4.
to 6 range.
Oh wow, I think he's higher.
Oh yeah, top 4.
I mean, even Josh Allen.
Yeah. But you're
not playing one in the NFC.
Well, the other two now that we've taken the quarterbacks, the other two quarterbacks that we had were Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I was really considering Trevor Lawrence. Because
you always had a big affinity for him.
But bro, I also throw that first year out the window.
I mean, yeah, you got to.
You have to. You have to. And then year 2, they surround him with some pieces. Bro, quietly, they got a really good offense. Now with your boy Calvin Ridley, you got Kirk, you got Ingram, you got Zay Jones, you have Etienne. I didn't call him Saint Etienne anymore. I learned after you corrected me. You're like, yo, bro, I think it's just Etienne. You're thinking about the soccer team. But those are that offense. That offense is gonna be dynamic now because the big thing for the Jaguars, I felt like last year, Allen, was Christian Kirk is dope. He surpassed expectations for that contract, but he also is gonna flourish as a number 2 wide receiver. Now that you have Calvin Ridley, one of the best route runners in the league, you saw him, you know him very well. He is a touchdown machine too, and I think it's gonna take away some of the distractions from the other guys, like in a positive way, right? Now you have an alpha wide receiver. I think Calvin Ridley for sure is one of those guys. And also, he has a soft spot in my heart because he's one of us. He's a D-Gen, baby. If you gamble, you're one of us.
I got to ask, though, I think you mentioned the biggest reason, and I don't know if it's just because you don't want to talk about Philly, but like Doug Peterson, he's one of the best in the game.
Bro.
Like Doug Peterson's such a
last year I bet O'Connell and Peterson to be coaches of the year. I didn't take Dable because I didn't think they would make the playoffs. But those are my 2 picks. And look what they did with their teams. They changed the whole dynamic of the offenses. And I think that he is definitely the big reason why I threw like $50 on Trevor Lawrence to be MVP last year because it was a second-year leap. You get Doug Peterson. Obviously, it didn't turn out, but he was like 60-1. And I was like, yo, that second year. I love taking guys in the second year. Like, tell you right now, I like Pittsburgh a lot more than other people. I think Kenny Pickett proved, dude, they were 6-1 last 7 games. They went from no chance in the playoffs to they needed a couple things to break their way.
And they're always going to compete. We know that.
Like you always got to just don't forget about Pittsburgh in the AFC. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl, but that division, just be careful with them. So as I come back to this, I think Herbert is definitely my pick, but Trevor Lawrence it's a way closer conversation than I ever thought it was going to be. And my head coach is obviously Brian Dable. It got to be because he did so much more with less. And I just think that's the answer right now.
We know how special Brian Dable is. I think we're kind of in a cool place with coaches. Like we have a lot of great coaches in this league, but the current crop that's coming up, you're seeing a lot of these dynamic offenses. Like, we weren't going to put O'Connell or even an Arthur Smith in there, but like, those are two other offenses that are a joy to watch. Like, for all that we get frustrated with the NFL, there are so many fun offenses to watch, and I think just you want to make something out of nothing. Look what Dable did with the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like I said, Mike McDaniel, Brian Dable, right up those two. What positions do you have left? I have running back and receiver.
I have only running back.
Okay, so you got Mr. Relevant.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna do these two picks now. I think running back. I might as well do it now. I guess I'm gonna go with the one though is a complete package that still gets forgotten about. I might as well go Jonathan Taylor.
Okay,
I have all of them. I'll wait till you pick, but there's one I seriously considered who I think is like a human highlight reel. But when it comes to Jonathan Taylor, just look, he's got the resume. I know he's going for a down year, and he's not the most consistent when it comes to out of the backfield, and he does have a bit of a fumbling problem. But when you talk about pure running the ball in between the tackles, vision, breaking tackles, does have that breakaway speed at times. I think Jonathan Taylor is still someone you have to put up there, even come off a down year. Like, there was one point where, hell, I was being drunk because I'm Mr. Pro running back that you could seriously have considered him for the MVP when the Colts were there. But then Carson Wentz things, and that 2-week discussion quickly went away. But Jonathan Taylor, I still think is a top tier running back, and he's kind of part of that old school crop where he's more of a pure runner than this dynamic weapon that you could put in the slot. But there's still value for those players out there. And then receiver, my final pick. I'm debating between two. Oh, you've got 3 receivers, so
yeah,
I
got
can talk about that. I really want to go T. Higgins, but I think there'll be a little over the top for the Bengals. So, hell, let's do the Miami connection. I love me some Jalen Waddle, and I feel like I need a possession receiver. I need someone that could do serious damage between the short, intermediate part of the field. And he runs those drag routes, screens. He's someone also really good contested catch receiver. So he plays bigger than his size. So, for me, Jalen Waddle is someone that I think is slowly starting to prove himself, because I think people kind of got in his case his rookie year because he was averaging like 9 yards per completion, but that was the Miami offense with Tua. Like, he could have thrown the ball downfield, but I think now things.
I think he broke the record for catches by a rookie.
Yeah, but it was just like so many of them were like by the line of scrimmage.
He had like 104 catches for 320 yards. Like, it was
like it was under, like when you're a receiver under 10 catches, under 10 yards per catch, something's weird.
Yeah,
and he had that as rookie year, but I think now with the offense they've expanded. So yeah, I'm gonna go Jalen Waddle, but man, I love me some T. Higgins, but I think Jalen Waddle's a better fit for me.
Okay. So for me, my running back to wrap up this conversation, believe it or not, if you didn't take Jonathan Taylor, I probably wouldn't have taken him either.
Okay.
Bro, I really like Najee Harris.
Ooh, okay. Did not consider him.
I think he is not putting up as good numbers as we would hope for, but a lot of that has to do with like the offensive line and then
worse than
the quarterback issues the last couple of years. With the last season of Big Ben, and then until they went to Pickett, they were starting Trubisky. They were doing all this chaos over there. But, man, he could catch out the backfield. He runs hard. He runs like he's a north-south runner. Like, he doesn't really – the juking and all that stuff. Like, he could do it, but he's a hit-the-hole-and-go kind of runner. And that's the guy that I would have picked over –
That's a friend that hurdles. He's a freak athlete.
Yeah.
He like I said, he's human eye real, but – I actually thought maybe Javonte Williams. I know he hasn't played much in this league, but Javonte Williams, the small sample size we've gotten, man, that's the thing I'm most excited about Denver. What is he going to do with Sean Payton?
Yeah, man. And if you think about it, like Kenneth Walker was on this list. He didn't get going until halfway through last season. Etienne missed his rookie season pretty much, and he had a really good year this year. There's some interesting running backs that are on rookie contracts that are definitely going to be, key contributors to their teams over the next couple of years.
I want to mention some of the receivers that weren't picked that we had on the list. So we had Olave, we had Ayuk, mentioned T. Higgins, Devonta Smith. Those are the receivers that weren't taken. Did you consider any of them?
I really consider T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins could be a top 10 wide receiver if he had his own like number one designation.
I still feel like he's top 15 right now. I don't care that he's a number 2. He's still someone. I mean, look what Chase was out. He still was putting up 120.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's an interesting conversation to have because how much of Jamar Chase's success is because of T. Higgins, and then how much of T. Higgins' success is because of Jamar Chase.
Sometimes
And
you just gotta give receiver.
I think it's a good.
The production's a production.
I think it's a good balance. Yeah. All right. So as we wrap up, I have my team here, and I want you guys to chime in and let us know what you think, who you think has a better team, and why. My team, my quarterback is Herbert. My running back is Najee Harris. My wide receivers are Garrett Wilson, Justin Jefferson, and St. Brown. My offensive lineman is Andrew Thomas. Edge rusher is Micah Parsons. Dexter Lawrence is my defensive tackle. And my DBs are Surtain and Hufanga, head coached by a top 3 ball dude on the planet right now, Brian Daboll.
Let him know.
You know who's first, though, right?
Stone cold.
Absolutely. Come on now. Come on now.
My roster is quarterback Joe Burrow, running back Jonathan Taylor, my receivers Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, C.D. Lamb, offensive lineman Tristan Wirfs, edge rusher Brian Burns, interior tackle Quinnen Williams, cornerback Sauce Gardner, safety Antoine Winfield Jr., and head coach, the man that could not get a cup of coffee when he worked at Washington and one of the 3 black coaches in the league, Mike McDaniel.
Yo, Washington, man. They always show that graphic of the coaches that were in the building that left. It's like the 6 best coaches in the league.
LaFleur.
Yeah. Oh, man. Shout out to Jay Gruden because they were all under him, too.
Yeah.
Jay Gruden was the head coach during the RG3 era, Kirk Cousins.
I feel like he always got bad. Like he wasn't good enough, but I feel like he always got bad rep. Like, I remember seeing a picture of Jay Gruden, and it was like Deshaun Jackson gave him a titty twister. I'm just like, man, poor Jay Gruden. He was wearing like that red polo. It says hot August day, and Deshaun Jackson's like this. I'm like, only Deshaun Jackson get away with this. Like, could you? And only a head coach like Jay Gruden will allow it. Like,
yeah.
Could you imagine like Deshaun Jackson's not doing that to Mike Tomlin
or to Bill Belichick? Cut him on the spot. Bill Belichick will be like, come on now. Let's get out of here with that. All right, so this was our dream team episode in the NFL.
We got some stacked teams.
We got some stacked teams. Let us know. Let us know in the comments. Tweet at us at Veterans Minimum. Hit us up on Instagram at Veterans Minimum. Everywhere that you can find the show. Let us know who you think had a better team. And as far as I go, it's at Nick Day as 10 as you can find me. VeteransMinimum.com as you can find all things VM. Alan, where can they find you?
Alan Sturk, ALLENSTRK.
We'll catch you guys next time on VM.